I'm still on my all protein diet. I'm eating these cheese balls. They're pretty good. Y'all, dreams are powerful, man. Dreams are so powerful. And make sure you're paying attention to your dream. I have two different decks going on over here. Let me make sure I put the right one with the right deck. This is the second deck. This is the third. Gotta make sure the right card go to the right deck. That last reading I did today was crazy. I did a reading for a client. That was a crazy fucking reading. Uh, mm. So, how do we know when spirit is getting ready to do a major thing in your life? When spirit is getting ready to do a major thing in your life, spirit is going to give you dreams. Now, it's for you to decode that dream and see what that dream actually means. And sometimes we don't decode the dreams right because we just um we just focus on sometimes the surface level of what the dream means. And because of that we miss out on a deeper meaning. We miss out on the things that spirit wants us to know. Who has been having dreams lately? I know it's rare for me not to get a dream. I dream every night, whether it's something big or whether it's something small. But dreams are very important. 90% of dreams are nightmares. Yours? That's crazy. If 90% of your dreams are nightmares, if 90% of your dreams is nightmares, baby, you might be cursed. If 90% of your dreams is nightmares, you might be cursed. But dreams teach you a lot. Sorry, y'all, I'm in block mode too. I don't have time for it today. But so what's up, everybody? So Spirit is doing a big move. I don't know what big move Spirit is doing. Why Spirit is choosing to do it. I really don't know. These is just cheese. That's all it is just cheese. I'm still on my carnivore diet, so I'm just eating protein. Let me move this a little bit closer. But Spirit is doing this big move. It started the it started a few weeks back. That let me turn on this light too. And I'm only saying this because this last part of my dream, which is rare, it I was I was giggling and having so much fun in the dream that it woke me up. And even when I woke up, I was still just like giggling, and I just I just had this moment that I was like, yeah, that is what I want. That is what I want in my life. And I caught myself speaking, and I was listening to the things that I was saying, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I'm up. Like, I'm not dreaming no more. I'm like, I'm up. And so I was like, that was a very intense dream. I mean, it had me waking up, giggling and talking, and I'm like, that was a very powerful dream. And so this started weeks ago that Spirit told me to sage my room and do a ritual in my room. And so I did this ritual, and as soon as I got done with the ritual, I had a dream that night. And Spirit has been giving me a lot of dreams where it will show me what ritual I need to do. And some of these rituals is paired with old rituals that I've done, but some of these are rituals that I haven't done before. And they literally walked me through the entire ritual in my dream. And it was like, this is what I need you to do. And so, I went in my room, I saged my room, I, did the rituals and everything in my room. I did the ritual and everything in my room. And then from there, Spirit was like, I want you to put, two candles. I want two candles burning in your room at all times. I want, one on the left, one on the right, because my bed is in the middle, and I got, two of my drawers, or two of my chests, one on the left, one on the right. And Spirit is like, I want you to put two candles there. And so I put the two candles there, and ever since those two candles have been burning, that is, remember, two candles is always a portal. That's the significance of two. When you got one on the left, one on the right, and then you're getting in the middle because the middle is your bed, that is a portal. And so, that was the first thing that I was thinking. I'm like, okay, why do y'all have me going into this portal? And so I'm like, that's the first thing. Why do you have me going into this portal? And, I was just like, whatever. I knew it was from Spirit. I'm like, I'm not going to question it. Let's see what happens. And I remember the first night when it happened. Um, I was I was burning up in the room as if I was just, as if I was just, extremely hot. I was just burning up, in the room. And I'm like, okay, these two damn candles is not doing that. They're not gonna burn me up. And so still I'm burning up and everything, and then I go into a dream. The very first dream had to do with Sarabanda. You know, it's the very first, and the one thing about dreams, dreams is going to connect everything to the waking life, that you will understand what it is that spirit is trying to convey. Everything is going to be connected to the waking life. And so, when I so as I was wait, I'm sorry, I'm blocking and telling a story at the same time. This is some fucking multitasking. That's a fucking multitasking. And so dreams are very significant because they connect everything to the waking life. And the one thing that normally I don't tell dreams and stuff like that, but I'm telling you this so that if you're going through the same thing, you will learn how to decode these messages. And so hopefully you will learn how to decode these dreams so that when you see people in dreams and stuff like that, you're not thinking that this is the person that spirit is saying is your husband, or this is the person that spirit is saying is your wife. Just because you see someone in your dream, it doesn't mean that spirit is talking about that person. It could be what that person represents. And so that's one of the things that you need to consider. And so the very first dream that I got, like I said, I was burning up before bed just by lighting two goddamn candles. And then from there, I had this dream. And the first dream was Sarabanda, but it wasn't Sarabanda in his natural form, because Sarabanda is from Palomayambe, and that is my father in Palomayambe. And when it comes to Sarabanda, Sarabanda is this tall African Cuban black dude. Sarabanda, they say he is black as night, and he's this really tall dude. Sarabanda is extremely powerful. Sarabanda, for in case you don't know Palomayambe, Sarabanda is the combination of Ilegua, which is the opener of doors, Ogun, the god of war and iron, and Oduduwa, which is the god of ancestral connection. And then Oduduwa is a shaman. And so Sarabanda is powerful, being the mixture of those three orishas. Sarabanda is a very powerful deity. Now, to help you to really understand who Sarabanda is a deity in Palomayambe, that it is said that he can break any curse. That if anyone is doing any type of witchcraft, that if anyone is doing any type of witchcraft in your life, Sarabanda is able to remove it just like that. And so, Sarabanda is a strong deity of justice. And so Sarabanda is a strong deity of justice. And so when as I start working with Sarabanda, one of the symbols that represent Sarabanda is a snake. And of course, his main symbol is a lizard. And when I first start working with Sarabanda, in order to honor him, I end up buying the snake. And yeah, I was afraid of snakes before this period. I was afraid of snakes. I hated snakes. And so I end up getting one because with all of the orishas and all of the deities I work with, I end up buying animals as pets just to honor and respect them even more. That I try to bring in what represents them in nature. And so, whatever represents them in nature, I try to bring in as pets. And I take care of them really good because, I really love my deities. And so, not only do I set up my altars and everything like that, I literally, end up buying pets to represent them and honor them because, I just really love my deities and I love all of the things that they have done for me over the years. And so, with Sarabanda, I end up buying a snake. And like, yeah, this snake, I remember when I got it from the store. This snake was the calmest one out of everybody in that little bend. This snake was so calm, cool, and collective, but at the end of the day, it was still a snake. You know, and I remember when the man opened the thing, all the snakes was like biting and stuff like that. They thought they were getting ready to get fed. And this snake was just like, hey, whatever, it's just another day in the sun. And I felt that that was the snake that was calling me. I'm like, I want that one. I want that one. And I remember when I was in the store, I was so afraid to pick that snake up because I've always had a fear of snakes and spiders. I have always hated snakes and spiders. And so I'm there, at the store and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my gosh, like I'm gonna touch the snake, and the snake just, he just wrapped around me and stuff, and he just stayed put. He was just like there. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna take it home. And this is the snake that I'm always showing on videos and everything. I love that snake. And so because I got him for Sarabanda in order to respect the power and authority over my life with the energy of Sarabanda, his name is Banda. And so, my first snake is Banda. And then of course, in Palomayambe, just like in Ifa, there are great duos where, Elegua and Ogun is a great duo. Eshu and Ogun is a great duo. Oya and Chango is a great duo. Yemaya and Obatala is a great duo. Oshun and Yemaya is a great duo. Yemaya and Yemaya and Olakun is a great duo. That there are certain orishas that when you pair those two energies together, shit is gonna get done. Oshun and Oya is a great duo. And so, you have those energies that when those two are together, you are good no matter what. And so when it comes to Palomayambe, Sarabanda and Kobedia, that's a great duo. That when those two are together, ain't shit finna happen to you. You can't get a more powerful duo in Palomayambe with those two. And so, I end up getting a second snake in honor of that duo, and that one is Badia. And so, I got Banda and Badia. Now I don't mess with Badia too much. Badia be on some shit. He is never, he's just not as friendly as Banda. Banda is just like pick me up. Every time I go to the altar room, it's like Banda can just sense that I'm there. And wherever he is, whether he's hiding under the water thing because they like to go under the water and dig themselves under there and stay under there, or they'll go into one of their houses or some. But it's like the moment that I go into the altar room, Banda would slither himself to the window, and it's like he's like a little kid, and he's like, "Are you gonna pick me up today? Are you gonna take me out of my cage? Are you gonna play with me?" And so, Banda is just like at all times he want to be picked up. He want to get out of that cage, and he just like to slither around my body. That's all he do is just like slither around my body. Honestly, I would have been okay with Banda only. I love that snake, and it's just like, even as he slither around my body and stuff like that, um even as he slither around my body, you can feel the energy of the snake. Snakes are natural cleansers, if you don't know that. And that's why when you see a lot of shamans, they use snakes in different rituals where it's not as to animal sacrifice, but it's just using that snake on their head or keeping the snake around their neck because they're protectors. Snakes give you natural healing, natural cleansings. And it's like every time with this fucking snake, as this thing is moving around and stuff like that, like you can really feel its energy. You can really feel the energy that it gives off. And so I love my snake. I love Banda. Banda is my snake. Now, Badia, on the other hand, I don't know what people are talking about in the comments. What is this? I don't know. Somebody talking about the Cleveland show. I don't know. Okay, but um Badia, on the other hand, he don't like to be touched like that all the time. No, every time that I have grabbed him and stuff like that, he has never done anything crazy or anything. He just don't like to be touched. He just, he's just like, every once in a while he'll, play around and stuff with you, but he's not the everyday play with me type of animal. He like, look, nigga, I'm here for a reason, and I'll reveal it to you later. My bad, y'all. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me, y'all. I'm kicking people out. I'm kicking people out as I'm trying to tell the story. So I gave you a good background. And so you got to remember, when it comes to dreams, you need to understand what that background is. And so that is how you decode dreams successfully. And so in the dream, I'm in the yard, with one of my brothers. I'm in the yard with my son, and we were getting ready to do a water fight. And so I had Badia around my neck. And so I was like, hey, I don't want to get Badia wet. And so I was like, I'm gonna lay Badia down. And so I laid Badia on top of the house where the gutters is. And so I laid Badia, directly in the gutters so that he can, have some shade and stuff like that from the sun. He can slither around, and I can always go up there and grab him back, once we're done with this water fight. And so we're having this big water fight, splashing each other and stuff like that. And then, after that, I went back to get Badia. And so, okay, so my bad. Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm just trying to kick all the ignorant people out. So we having a water gun fight. Having a water gun fight in the front yard, and then from there I went to get my snake again, and once I went to get my snake, I went to get Badia. The first snake I pulled out, it was not my fucking snake. You can tell, my snake is a python, is a ball python. And so the very first snake that I pulled out, of course it had the little flat head and stuff like that. It was a cobra. You could instantly tell that it was a cobra. You can instantly tell that this was not a python. And so as I'm, grabbing the snake, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, you are not, I'm like, you're not Badia. And so the snake was actually getting ready to bite me. And so, as the snake was getting ready to bite me, I was like, you motherfucker. I'm like, if you bite me, I will kill you and use you as a goddamn sacrifice. I'm like, I will hang you over my Ganga and sacrifice you to Sarabanda if you fucking bite me. I was like, bitch, you are not about to bite me. Literally talking to a snake, getting into it with a snake. And so, then, that snake went away. That snake was like, look, nigga, I don't want no beef. And so then, I went back in there again, to get Badia. And I'm like, Badia, come on. Like, you need to come up out of there. I'm ready to grab you back. And so as I went back, again to grab my snake, this time around, this one was a python. It was a python in the front part of the snake. But once you looked at the back part of the snake, it had human bones and it was forming in an X. It was just X's all the way through the rest of the tail. And so the front part was a snake, and then the second part, it was just human bones. And the one thing that was different about this snake than the last snake is that, this one was very weak. This one was very weak. It was if it was sick and like it was getting ready to die. And so, I'm like, that's not my snake. And with that one, I was like, I'm not even finna touch that. I was like, I don't even want to touch this fucking snake. Like, it's something completely off about this goddamn snake. And so finally, I seen Badia slithering around, and I'm like, Badia, like, where the fuck you going? And so I literally had to take the gutters off because Badia was keep slithering more and more down. He was keep going down in this little system where gutters are not that deep. And somehow this gutter turned into a whole mechanism. And so he's in the gutter and he's just slithering down and down and down. And I'm like, Badia, like, where the fuck you going? Like, let's go. And so I removed, the gutter so that I can grab Badia, and Badia end up being by this duck that it looked like it was wounded. And, I guess he was going down there to protect this duck. And so once all of that happened, that's when I woke up. And so it's like whenever you get dreams like this, what does it mean? And it's like, yes, you have so many different parts going on at the same time. You have things that don't make sense. You have things that, that they really don't glue together. And it's like, but how do you decode this dream when there's so many moving parts and all of this shit is just going everywhere? How do you decode this and how do you reel this in order to get the message from spirit? And so spirit was saying that the very first part of the dream is spirit is saying that you're already in a place that you are cleansing yourself. First thing you need to know about dreams is that you need to understand how God speaks to you. You need to understand what the ancestors try to convey when they do certain things. The one thing that the ancestors has always done to me over the years, and you learn this the more that you start writing your dreams down, that you will understand the pattern that they're trying to tell you. And so I grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas. Every single time when the dream is located in Little Rock, Arkansas, where I grew up, the spirits are telling me that I need to focus on my foundation. That is something about my foundation that I need to focus on. After that, I went to Yokosuka, Japan, where I was stationed in the military. And so every time that I have a dream about Yokosuka, Japan, it's always the stage of when I first got introduced to spirituality. This is the stage where, growing up in Little Rock, Arkansas, all you met was whites and Mexicans. It was nothing else there. White, Mexicans, and black. When I went into the Navy, I started seeing Jamaicans, Dominicans, Nigerians. I seen all of these people from around the world that I've never seen before, that I have never experienced before. And it was there in the military on the USS Blue Ridge, LCC-19. It was on that amphibious ship that was my very first time being introduced to Ifa and learning who Ifa was. And so whenever I have a dream of being back in Yokosuka, Japan, it's talking about my spiritual roots. It's saying it's something about my spiritual path or something that I need to focus on. When I got out of the military, I then moved to Indiana. In Indiana, it was the happiest moment of my life. A lot of things happened to me when I went to Indiana. I ended up getting my bachelor's degree in business management. I ended up getting my master's in human resource management. I ended up getting a second master's, which was my MBA. I end up, falling in love. There was so many things that happened in Indiana that whenever I have a dream of being back in the home in Indiana, it always represents happiness and peace. It always represents, a shift that is getting ready to happen. And every time that I have a dream of Arizona, which is where I stay now, Arizona is always the indicator that what I'm talking about is in the present moment, that this is something that is going to happen immediately. And so that is the first thing that you need to decode in your dream is where is this located? Now, one of the things about my dreams is that in every last one of my dreams, my twin brother, who is still alive, is always present in every last one of my dreams. And my son Elijah is always present in every last one of my dreams. Because they are present in every dreams, they are not representing themselves as themselves. Every time that my brother is in my dream and my son Elijah is in my dream, my brother is representing as my Ori. Every single time in my dream, when I see my twin brother in my dream, he is always on my side. He is always protecting me. He is always guiding me, telling me what to do. My brother is always my Ori. It is the direct reflection of who I am when I look in the mirror. And so my twin brother is always represented as my Ori in the dream. That, like I said, just because you see someone in your dream, it doesn't mean that spirit is talking about them. And you must understand that when decoding your dream, or you're going to get the wrong message. And my son Elijah, he never represent himself in my dreams. He always represent the inner child. That is the representation of my innermost being. This is my innocence. This is the vulnerable part of myself. And then, of course, my brother Leotis, we call him Leo. He's actually dead. He has passed. And so every time he is in my dream, he is represented as the ancestor. He is always represented as Igun. And so now, since you got the setup of, the location, what these people are on the chessboards, now it's time to decode the dream. And so in the dream, whenever you see anything of water, water is cleansing. And so, the beginning part of the dream, we go into this big water fight. We're splashing each other with water and everything like that. The water is automatically letting you know where spirit is saying you went in a process that you are cleansing yourself. You are removing all of this filth and stuff from out of your life. Because in the front yard where we were doing this water fight, it was me, it was my twin brother, and it was Elijah. And so it was like you were cleansing your Ori, and in return, your Ori is cleansing you. That you are cleansing your inner child, and in return, your inner child is cleansing you. And that's exactly how it was, that I was on one side shooting the both of them, and then they were shooting me back. And so spirit is saying in the beginning of this dream, you are doing a good job cleansing yourself. You are using the element of water and you are cleansing yourself. And with the snake being around my neck, which is the representation of Sarabanda, it is saying that Sarabanda is with you. And the dream, which I didn't know to the very end, is saying that Sarabanda is getting ready to reveal something to you. And so the first part was very beautiful. It's saying that you're cleansing yourself, but it's saying while you are cleansing yourself, be very careful, because somebody is getting ready to come into your life and appear to be something that they're not. When I tried to grab that first snake, I only grabbed it because I thought it was Sarabanda. And it's saying that somebody is getting ready to come in, and this person is a snake, but they're not yours. This is not yours. And instantly, when I looked at the snake, I was like, this is not a python. This is a cobra. And I was like, motherfucker, I dare you to try to bite me. And so spirit is letting me know that even though this person is trying to come in with a mask, you're going to immediately identify what this person really is. You're not going to be tricked. Not at once in this dream was I tricked, and that I thought that, this was my Sarabanda. The only thing I did, I just was unaware that there was other snakes in this thing. And so I put my hand in there and thinking that I was going to grab Sarabanda, but instead this snake came out. And so it was saying, be very careful. Somebody is getting ready to come in, and they're going to appear to be something that they're not, but you're going to know immediately. You're going to know immediately who this person really is. And so the second snake, where this one, it looked like a python, but then it had human parts, at the end. The second snake is saying that, you need to be very careful of witchcraft, that somebody is doing witchcraft against you, and it was saying that you don't even need to touch it. This is something you don't need to touch, because even by touching it, it could be something that could that could reel you in. Now, the second thing, the other thing that I want to add, because you got to take into consideration how you act when you're around these things and everything. When the very first snake came in, my attitude was very sharp, very powerful. I was like, bitch, you bitch ass motherfucker, you bet not fucking bite me. You bite me and I'm gonna sacrifice you to my Ganga. And so even in the dream, it's saying that even though this person is gonna come in and they're gonna try to deceive, that you have power and authority over this person. This person is not gonna get far. And so the dream already told me that you're going to identify that this person is not who they say they are, and you're already walking in your power and authority, and this person is not going to be able to get very far in your life. The second snake, it was saying, be very careful, don't even entertain this, because this is witchcraft. This is someone. Now, there's a big difference between the two snakes. The first snake, you could easily tell that it was a cobra. You could easily tell that, that this was a cobra, and so it was instantly that this person's mask wasn't masking the way that it was supposed to. But the second one, it did look like a black python, but it was something in my spirit that was telling me that this is not my snake. Number one, it looked sick. It looked very sick. And I'm like, that's not Banda. I'm like, Banda, it is a black python. It looked like a black python, but it's something very off about the snake. The snake looked very sick. And then it's like, as I was removing things to look at the snake, that's when you can see that it had human bones and stuff on the second half of itself. And I'm like, oh, this is not Banda. This is some weird ass shit. And so number one is saying that the second snake, that where it's like, look, motherfucker, this is witchcraft. The second one is going to be witchcraft. But even, in the dream, it was telling me that even though this person is coming in with a lot of witchcraft, like this person is very weak. They were weak to the point that this could be someone that has death magic on them, not necessarily doing death magic on me, but this is someone that has some type of death magic or some type of magic on them, that it looked like this person was getting ready to die anyways. And so the only thing that the dream was telling me is stay far away from this person. Stay far away from this snake. You don't need to be nowhere, near it. And so then finally, I get to my snake, and my snake is slithering around the gutters, and it's keep going downwards. It's keep going down and down and down. And so that part of the dream is saying that, look, Sarah Banda is going very deep, all the way to your root, all the way to your core, because it's going down as if it's going down to the root chakra. And, and I'm like, number one, a gutter is not that fucking deep, but in this dream it was, but this thing was going very down. And it's like, look, Banda is getting ready to remove all of this stuff that is not serving your highest good. It is purging all of this stuff and revealing things to you. And so finally, when I'm able to get the snake is, the reason why it was going down is it was protecting this duck, and so the entire time, that's all it was doing, was protecting the duck. And so the last part of the dream, it was letting me know that this is who you are. that you are this duck, that you are the one that I'm protecting. And so when we look at things like that in, in the dream space, we got to understand what the thing represent in the waking space. And in the waking space, a duck is a very powerful motherfucker because a duck has the ability to master three elements. A duck master water, a duck is the master of land, and a duck is the master of air. A duck, it masters three completely things. And so, because of that, it's giving you a description of who you are. It's giving you a description of the elements that you possess and the elements that you should work with. And so dreams are very powerful. And so, of course, when I woke up, I knew exactly what it was that I needed to do. And I knew that, once again, that, I was in a space where spirit is saying that there are certain people that you need to stay away from, that some people is going to come in and their only agenda, it is to hurt you. That's all it is. And so that was the very first dream. That was the very first dream I had when spirit told me to cleanse my room. And it has been back to back to back. And so I'm like, okay, get prepared for some motherfuckers to come in to try to do some dirty ass shit, but be on my guard. Whenever you get dreams like that, get your protective wards and stuff like that ready. So I'm still doing my no sugar and no caffeine. I don't want my blood pressure to go up. So this is zero sugar, no caffeine. These are the only drinks that I drink. So finally, I had the second dream. I won't go into detail about that one because the second dream, I was talking to somebody that was I was talking to somebody that was already married. That I knew that in the waking life, this person was married, and this person was married to somebody that I knew. And so we got to understand that, y'all, listen, God is not the God of confusion. God is not going to give you a dream saying, take somebody else's partner. The dream was just telling me that the person that's getting ready to come in is going to be a representation of this person, that they're going to have very similar characteristics. And that's the thing that I want to add. Y'all be seeing these people in dreams and then swear up and down that this is your husband, this is your wife. And if they're married or something like that, you would automatically think that God is telling you to destroy a marriage, that God is telling you to interfere with a connection. That is not what the dream is telling you. The dream is not telling you to go ruin somebody's marriage or for you to be a side chick or for you to be, a side dude. That is not what the dream is telling you. And so, that's the one thing that we got to understand. When spirit is using someone else as an example in your dream, it's basically telling you that they can have very similar characteristics as this person. That I tell people all the time in dreams that, when someone appear in your dream, what does that person mean to you in the real life? In the real life, you can say, oh, that person is a comedian. Well, the person that's getting ready to come in, they're going to be a comedian. Oh, when I think of that person, the first thing that come to mind is that person is a hard worker. Well, the person that's getting ready to come in is going to be a hard worker. When you think of this person, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Oh, this person is laid back. They really don't take anything serious. They're really easy to get along with. Well, that is what spirit is bringing your attention to, but not necessarily the person. And so those are the things that, we need to keep in mind. But please stop saying that you're seeing people in your dreams and you think that this is what God wants you to mess up so that you can get this person for yourself. No. So when it so finally so in that dream, one of the main things that this dream was telling me, because I was with somebody, cheese, it's just cheese. Because I was with somebody that was married in the real life, in the waking life, the dream was basically telling me that the love that's getting ready to come in is going to be a forbidden love in some type of way. That this is some type of forbidden love that's going to come in. Whether it's forbidden because of people perception, or whether it's forbidden because of society norms. That is what the dream was telling me. That the dream was telling me that this is going to be some type of forbidden love. And so that dream was basically telling me that you need to prepare yourself, because the dream was basically saying that with this type of love, multiple people might not agree with this. Multiple people might not agree with this type of love, because you gotta decode these things just like you would decode anything else. If somebody knew that you are with a married person and they know that person is married and they know that person partner, the first thing they're going to be doing, they're going to be looking at their relationship like, what the fuck is Rashad doing? Like, why is Rashad with that person knowing that that person is married? Everybody is going to end up being against that relationship. Everybody is gonna be saying like what the fuck is homeboy doing? Like I I expected better from you. I expected you to be a better leader. That people are going to end up tossing a lot of stones. And so it's the same energy that it will be given in the waking life is the same energy of what the dream is telling you. And so the moment that the dream paired me with somebody that was already married and awake in life, it automatically told me that some type of forbidden love is getting ready to come in. That this is going to be something that not too many people is going to agree with, and is basically preparing you and letting you know that this love that's getting ready to come in, you're going to have more haters than people that's actually getting ready to bless it. That a lot of people are going to end up being against this connection. A lot of people is going to end up coming against this connection. And so that is why you really need to learn how to decode your dream. And so these are dreams that I'm keep getting back to back. And so I'm like, okay, I got some type of forbidden love that's getting ready to come in. I got some type of love that, half of the people I know is not going to be fucking with. That most of the people that I know is going to be against it. That, people are going to keep giving me the side eye. That people are going to, hate on me like crazy, because of this relationship. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, Spirit, then why the fuck you bringing it to me? Like, why the fuck you bringing this to me? And I'm like, why the fuck are why the fuck are you bringing me, this relationship that, I'm like, I already got enough hating ass motherfucking bitches. Now, I can tell you one thing that, you know, this is one of the reasons why I love Ifa is because Ifa haven't motherfucking lied yet. When I got my Odu, which is the reincarnation of the Orisha that I'm living, my path is a path of Eshu. I'm not going to tell you which path it is, but my path is a path of Eshu because nobody should really know your path. And when they were going through everything, that was the one thing that was keep coming out is that it was keep saying is that you're going to have a lot of haters in this life, that a lot of people are going to be against you, and it came out time and time again in every last one of my readings. It was just keep saying it. And all of the Orishas was keep repeating it, that they were like, it's going to be a lot of people that's going to try to come against you. Now, every last one of them had a different twist to it because whenever you go through initiation, all of the Orishas, as you feed them, as you're going through the ceremony, every last one of them speak. I just seen the spirit go through. Every last one of them speak. And I know with Ilegua, like Ilegua told me, he was like, I want you to strengthen your vocabulary. I want you to be able to know, more words and stuff like that. And Ilegua was saying too that, he was like, many people are going to come up against you, but you will win every war. He was like, you don't have to worry about that. Multiple people will come against you, but you will win every war. And I remember Oshun, in which I don't know why it come out in every reading. Oshun was more specific, that Oshun was saying that, that it's going to be a lot of bitches, and I'm like, that is the one thing I will never understand. Oshun was like, it is going to be a lot of fucking bitches. And I'm like, I get that in every reading, almost every reading I have with my Bible out. This bitch is doing witchcraft. This bitch is doing witchcraft. This bitch is doing witchcraft. I'm like, why the fuck do I have so many problems with bitches? I'm like, why do I have so many problems with bitches? Half of the time I don't even fuck with y'all. I'm like, I keep to my goddamn self. I literally keep to my goddamn self. I have always had a problem with bitches. And I don't do shit to y'all. I don't do shit to y'all. I don't look y'all way. I don't talk to y'all. I don't do shit with motherfucking bitches. But it is always in my goddamn reading that some bitch is doing something. And I'm like, it's the one thing that I will never understand. Every single time that I have had a problem on the job, it's always with a bitch. Every single time that I didn't like my manager, it was always because she was a bitch. Every single time when I would have, problems in school and stuff like that, it was always with a motherfucking bitch. I don't know why bitches have the biggest problem with me. I will never understand why bitches have the biggest problem with me. No, that is in every motherfucking reading I get, it is always saying that a motherfucking bitch got something to say or a motherfucking bitch is doing something. And I'm like, why the fuck do a bitch got anything to do with my life? No, that is the one thing that I will never get. That is the mystery. I remember even when my Babalawo and stuff was bringing that up, I was like, nah. I was like, you got the wrong person. I'm like, that's not me. I'm like, that doesn't resonate with me. I'm like, I don't have a problem with women. I've never had a problem with women. I'm like, but the more that the Orishas was saying it, I start thinking, I'm like, well, women have always given me the hardest time. And I'm like, even, thinking about, high school and stuff like that, I'm like, it was always the bitches that would get on my goddamn nerves. And, that was the one thing, like, I would purposely only hang around studs because I could not stand bitches. They would always, I can't be around anybody that's overly emotional. I can't. I just can't. My energy doesn't match well with an overly emotional person. And so I would only hang around women that were like the stud type, very masculine, that, it was like hanging around a nigga. Whether they were lesbian or not, those are the only women that I could be around. I could only be around the studs. I could only be around the ones that's like a CEO, business type woman. I could only be around a woman that literally represent the energy of Oya, that is a strong woman, that's not too emotional, that can hang out with the men just like Oya. I could not stand being around a feminine woman. I don't want to be around and gossip and do all of that other shit. But bitches hate me. That's the one thing that I will never understand in this world, why it has always been like that. Bitches fucking hate me. And so the more I start getting that in my reading, and all of the Orishas was basically saying the same thing, I'm like, yep, I can see that. I can see it. I can see it. I'm like, yep, I can confirm that that's true. I always have some woman that hate my guts and never did anything to the bitch, never said anything to the bitch. I'm like, yep, that's my life. That's my life. That is definitely my life. Cause I'm like, And then I don't know what I did to women in my past life. But I know I didn't do shit in this life. I didn't do shit in this life. Don't hold me to what I did in the past life. But I can promise you I didn't do shit in this life. But I promise y'all, I kid you not. Every single time I go to my every single time I go to my Babalawo, every reading, it's a woman with dark hair that's doing witchcraft on you. It's a woman with red hair that's doing witchcraft on you. It's a woman with, and I'm like, for what? What could I possibly do to you? What can I possibly do to you? I'm like, and it is, the readings are always very specific. And it is always a goddamn woman. It is always a woman. It's very rare for it to be a male. It's very rare for it to be a male. It is always a woman 9 times out of 10 when it comes to my life of somebody doing witchcraft. It is always a bitch. And I will never understand why. I will never understand why. And could be because of my crown. And then, at the end of the day, as much as I have all of these bitches hating on me, women are my strongest support in the spiritual realm. I have more female spirit guides, ancestors, deities that support me more than anything. I'm very close to Yemaya. Every single time when I call on Yemaya, especially for me to be a dude, every time I call on Yemaya, Yemaya come through. Every single time I call on Oshun, Oshun come through. Every single time I call on my mama Oya, Oya come through. Even when it come to Olakun, my Olakun is a female because Olakun can be male or female. My Olakun is a female. I am surrounded by females spiritually. Spiritually, I have a heavy influence of females that is all around. So at the so at the end of the day, it's like both sides of both coins. I have a lot of female haters, but I also have, my strongest support come from the females. Sometimes, you can talk to the warriors and stuff all day, and they take forever. But then you go to Oshun and you get it just like that. You go to Yemaya, you get it just like that. You go to Oya and you get it just like that. I know. Chango is my daddy. Chango is my daddy. But nah, but you know what? Just joking a little bit about the men because I gotta honor and acknowledge my daddy on the Palo Mayambe side because I kid you not, I love my daddy. I love Sarabanda. Sarabanda is very strong, very powerful. Sarabanda always got my back. I can go in there right now and call on Sarabanda, and what I ask for, he gives me. He protects me. That's the one thing about it, man. And all of them. I got to give it to Ogun. Ogun has always been a strong protector for me. Now I love me some fucking Ogun. Ogun is crazy as shit. But I love Ogun. Ogun has always been a strong protector. I felt Ogun energy even when I was uninitiated. Ogun has always been there for me. And so I love Ogun and I love Ilegwa. And so, I love the male Orishas too, but the female Orishas, they show out. It's like going to Yemaya. Yemaya is Big Mama, you know, and Yemaya is always Yemaya always say something, where she just like, never forget me. You better always remember that I'm your mother too. Every time, and when I would go through my ceremonies, Yemaya would make sure that she would always add something like that to let me know, like, you better not ever forget about me. And I make sure that I never forget about her. Yemaya is the one that led me to this religion. She is the one that led me to the Navy where I was going to meet the people that I needed to meet on that boat that would change my life forever. It was Yemaya that did that. And I went through a lot of stuff on that boat, and every single time when I would go through something, I would always go to the, outside to the side of the ship, and I would just sit there and just look at the beautiful water and, call on Yemaya, talk to Yemaya. I would cry and, everything else talking to Yemaya, and I could always feel her presence and her energy. And so, I love me some Yemaya. And so as much as I have bitches that, don't like me, I have so many female spiritual, spirits and stuff like that that always have my best interests at heart. And so that I'm glad that it balanced itself out. But the second dream was basically just telling me, the love that's coming in is going to be some type of forbidden love. And so, that was the main thing, that it's like, and all throughout the dream, I was with somebody that was married, and even though in the dream, the person that they were married to in the waking life, they already had somebody else in my dream. But we were together, and all throughout the dream, it was all of these obstacles and hurdles and stuff that we had to go through, but no matter what, we were still attached. And so that's what the dream was about. It's like every dream been giving me more and more information. And so that dream was just telling me, it was like, look, this thing that's getting ready to come in for you, this is going to be something that's forbidden. And that, in some people's eyes or whatever, where it's like a lot of people is going to be against this. You're gonna face, multiple things being in this relationship and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, fine. Then I have the next dream. I'm telling you, I've been getting dreams back to back to back. It's been crazy as shit. Like, I've been writing all this shit down. And I finally had this other dream where I needed to Elijah, of course, was in my dream again. Elijah was I had some suspicions about Elijah, that he wasn't doing his homework. And I'm like, Elijah, I know you're not doing your homework and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm gonna prove it. Just like in the waking life, Elijah was homeschooled, just like in the waking life. So in the dream, he was homeschooled as well. But we were driving, and as we were driving, we seen the physical school of what he's doing online. And so I was like, oh, while we passing the school, we need to go ahead and go up in here and see what you're doing, to see what your grades and stuff really look like. And so I get in the parking lot, I park the car, I tell Elijah that he can stay in the car. I walk to the building, I'm talking to the woman in the office, and I'm like, hey, I'm coming here to check up on my son's grades. I want to see if he's missing any assignments, what his grade is in every class. I'm like, I want to I want to know everything. And the woman, she pulled everything up. She looked his name up on the system. And she was like, oh no, he's doing really good. He haven't missed any classes. His grades is really good. He's passing every class. And so I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, well, if he's passing everything, then we're good to go. And so finally, I'm walking out of the school, and I got a little tired. And so it was a bench that was like right there, and I was like, oh, I'm a little tired, let me just sit down and get some rest. And I'm just going to get a little rest, and then I'll get up and go to the car, and we can leave. And so as I'm sitting there, as I'm sitting there, as I'm sitting there on the bench, I completely fell asleep. I went into this deep sleep. And when I woke up, all of these kids was around me. This was the bench that they were sitting on in order to get on the school bus. So mind you, in the dream, I arrived to this school like midday. I arrived there like around noon. And by the time I got to that bench, I want to say maybe it was 12:30 by the time I got to the office. And so I slept the entire time until school was out. And so I woke up, and all these kids are around me, and I'm waking up like, what the fuck? Like, why the fuck is all these kids around me? And I hurried up and got up because I'm like, oh, hell no. I don't want nobody saying that, I'm sneaking into school and stuff like that. And I was like, I gotta go. I'm like, I should have been gone. I don't want nobody questioning why I'm still at this motherfucking school. So I'm getting up, trying to go to the car. And then all of a sudden, as I was, walking back to the car, it was a pink bear that that appeared in my hand. And so I got this pink bear, and now the pink bear is telling me like, hey, you got this present for Elijah. And so I was like, oh, I'm taking this to Elijah, for doing a good job. And so all of a sudden, you know, um, all of a sudden, this bear end up falling out of my hands. And so, as it was falling out of my hands, it was rolling over, then it went to one thing. And so, I got this bear in my hands. Um I got this bear in my hands, and then I'm passing through this room where this is, I guess the school was like taking all of the kids' backpacks, and at the end of the day they were giving the kids their backpacks back. And so I'm passing through this area in order to get back to the car so I can get back with Elijah and I can leave this school. And so as I'm, walking past this room, the bear slipped out of my hand. And so as the bear slipped out of my hand, it went to like this one little conveyor belt where they were passing the kids back their backpacks. And it ended up, jumping off there. And then it went to the second one. So now I'm running over there trying to get the bear back, where I'm like, I need to get this bear. And then finally it jumped to the third one. And so now I'm jumping to the third conveyor belt. And and then this kid was getting ready to pick it up and keep it like it was his bear. And I was like, oh no. I'm like, hey, leave that motherfucking bear alone. I'm like, don't you touch that goddamn bear. That's mine. And as soon as the person turned around, and I guess it was just by my voice, he recognized who I was. And the kid turned around and he was like, Uncle, what are you doing here? And this was my son, Noah. And so, Noah is a kid that I took in, and now we're going back to the waking life. In the waking life, Noah is a kid that I took in, and I took him in because his mom and his dad was on drugs. And so he lived with me for years. And I tried my hardest to adopt him. And so, when Noah, came to me, he would always call me uncle. He was like, uncle, uncle, uncle. And he would always say uncle because I had my nieces and I had my niece and my nephew staying with me at the time as well. And they would always call me uncle. And so, he would always say, like, uncle, I love you, uncle, and it's just so funny because, of course, if you ever see Noah, you would automatically tell that this is not my son because Noah is white. But, in both of our minds, that's my son. That's, Noah is my son. I love Noah. I love Noah to death. That is the only Scorpio that I fuck with. I love me some Noah. And so, in the dream, we had this big reunion where I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Noah, Elijah is in the car. Elijah is gonna love to see you. And we just chatting it up and stuff like that. And so this dream was telling me again, you got to be very careful with when you see someone in your dream. It doesn't mean that spirit is talking about that person. The only thing that dream was telling me is the person that I'm getting ready to meet is unavoidable. This is going to be destiny. Just like that school appeared out of nowhere, just like I went to sleep and I woke up at the right time in order for me to meet Noah, just like the bear slipped out of my hand and it led me directly to him, the only thing that dream was telling me is that this meetup that's getting ready to happen, this is a destined connection. No matter what, destiny is at play, and it's going to lead you to this person. And it's somebody that's getting ready to come in. That's the only thing that that dream was telling me. It really had nothing to do with Noah. Spirit could have substituted that and put anybody he wanted to in that dream. And of course, with all of these kids being around, kids represents innocence. And so that's all it was. The only thing that dream was telling me is that, the only thing that dream was telling me is that you are getting ready to have, this is going to be destiny. And, I think Noah was a good example of that, because even how me and Noah met, it was destiny. It was destined. It was destined for us to meet up. And I took care of him. I took care of him for years. Even to this day, we have a really good relationship. And Noah was very interesting. He's a very interesting kid because Noah is white, but Noah will only hang around black people. All of his friends are black. Every girl that he dates is black. Noah only wants to be around black people. And he's not one of these white people that think he's black. That's not Noah. You got to understand his story, that everyone that was white in his life, they were strung out on drugs. They left him in the house starving. And so his psyche automatically says that if I'm around somebody that's white, I'm in danger. I'm not safe. But if I'm around somebody that's black, they're my angels. They're my protector. Because in his story, every black person that he has ever met in his life, they took him in, they fed him, they clothed him. And so now in his mind, it's not the fact that he's trying to be black. He see black people as his protector. He see black people as his savior, because black people has never done him wrong. And so, that is the thing, with my son Noah, is that, never once have he ever tried to be black. He know that he is white. He act white, the whole 9 yards. It's just the simple fact that black people has always saved him. And because of that, he sees black people as his protector. And so, so that's my son Noah. Man, I love Noah, y'all. We are tight. That is my boy. I love me some Noah. And then finally my last dream, y'all. This last dream was crazy as fuck. But I'm not gonna tell the full story of that because this revealed a whole lot more stuff. It was just the ending part. And so I'm keep getting this buildup of dreams where it's keep saying somebody is getting ready to come in. For the last couple of things, it's just keep being these strong dreams of saying like a destined connection is getting ready to come in. Something is getting ready to happen. Something is getting ready to shift. And you got to be very patient with these dreams, because you could be having dreams this year, but it's not going to come to pass into 2 years from now. You never know. And so, so the first thing, Spirit was telling me, hey, this love that's getting ready to come in, a lot of people is going to be against it. The second thing that, Spirit was telling me is that this is going to be this is going to be a destined connection, that no matter what, you're going to meet this person. It's unavoidable. Everything is going to be set up perfectly, that you're going to run directly into this person. And then, finally, this dream was really nice. It had me, getting up, giggling and stuff like that. It was a lot of stuff that occurred in this dream. I already decoded it. I already know what it means. But the part that, I was laughing at is, it was the ending part. In the ending part, um we were getting ready to go to a church, and we were getting ready to go to a church that the other person wanted to go to. They were really persistent about, going to this church and showing off this ottoman, a piece of furniture. And they were like, oh, I got to show people this ottoman. And so I was like, okay, let's let's go, and so and this is the ending of the dream. So I get to my truck, and just like in the waking life, I always got some shit in the back of my in the back seat. And so I was like, we're gonna have to put the ottoman in the back seat, so that we can go into church first and go to service and everything. And then after service, we'll take the ottoman out and we'll show everybody the ottoman. And so I was like, so if that's the case, let me move, all of the stuff from out the back seat of my car and put it back in the house. And so, as I was moving, the stuff out the back seat of my car and, putting it in the house, it was a spirit that was present. And the spirit was like, make sure you treat this person right. This person is going to end up being the love of your life, and, all of this other stuff. And, then it was saying like, I guess in the dream, I wouldn't even, I guess it was saying that the person next to me was an ex of mine. And, the spirit was like, I was purposely blocking this ex from just walking over next door, because this is the person you're meant to be with. You gotta be with this person. And so I'm like, okay, I'm like, whatever. Let me just grab this shit, put it in the house so we can go to the church. I'm like, and so, grab the ottoman. We threw the ottoman in the back of the truck. I got a big pickup truck, a Ford F-150. And so, you know, Elijah ran outside and jumped in the front seat. And then the person that the dream was about, and this is the part that had me cracking up. It had me waking up laughing and stuff like this. It put me in the best spirit ever because the other person, they came and they sat in the middle. They sat in the middle of the truck where like the cup holder and stuff go, and where like the holding compartment and stuff. Where instead of getting in another seat of the car, where it's like instead of getting in the back seat or telling Elijah to get out and go to the back, they set their ass right in the middle. And so that's when we were rolling, because the one thing that you would love, the one thing you would learn about me, the best way to get to my heart is make me laugh. If you can make me laugh, if you can show me that being with you, we would be cracking up and stuff like that all the time. We would always have fun moments. Baby, that's how you get my heart. I don't like I don't like all the seriousness. I'm already a serious person. I already got to be serious and stuff at work. I love a goofy motherfucker. I love a goofy person. That is the thing that give me peace. That is the thing that give me laughter. That is the thing that give me a sense of security. That is the one thing that I loved about my brother Leotis, is that Leotis was the comedian of the family. And so, when that person came and sat in the middle. They literally sat in the middle. It's like the entire atmosphere in the truck changed. I was laughing, they were laughing, Elijah was laughing, and we just had like this big family moment that we were all laughing, and then we were roasting. We were like, the only reason you sitting in the middle is because you so short. That's a child seat. And we just going back and forward, and we just having a good ass time in the fucking car laughing at this one simple moment is that this motherfucker sat in the middle of the fucking seat, sat in the middle, and we were just, man, we were cracking up and we were laughing. We had, that was the part of the dream that lasted the longest, and we were laughing, we were joking, we were saying all this silly ass shit. And that's when, like I was laughing so hard in the fucking dream that it actually woke me up. And I woke up laughing and smiling and giggling. And I didn't even realize that I was up. I didn't even realize that I wasn't even dreaming anymore, that I was actually up. And so I'm like, I got up, I'm rolling around in the bed, and I'm like still laughing and giggling, thinking about this person sitting in the middle of the fucking truck. And as I was up, I caught what I was saying, and I was listening to myself speaking, and that's when I knew. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not dreaming no more. I'm up, because I was like, I just started speaking where I was like, this is what I want. I'm like, this is the thing that's gonna make me happy. These are the things that I like. That I was speaking those things, and that's when I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm up. I'm like, I'm not sleep anymore. And I'm like, but that dream, boy, that was the best dream. We were rolling, man. Me and Elijah was just laughing. We were out of it, man. We were like, why the hell is this motherfucker sitting in the middle of the goddamn truck? Like, it was so unexpected. And it's the simple things. That's the simple things that be having me going. But I'm like, that is one thing that I definitely love. I love um I love I love to laugh. If if you can make me laugh, then you got my heart. If you can make me laugh, you got my heart. And that's it. That's it with my dreams. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. See, I'm with you. Laughing, good food, good music. Yep. That's all I want to do. I'm sorry. I don't want to fight and argue with you. I don't want to fight and argue. I don't want a toxic ass I'm sorry, yeah, I'm just talking. I don't want a toxic ass relationship that all we do is fight and argue and you think that that's love. No, I want to laugh. I want to laugh. I want to have fun. I like to have memorable moments and take pictures and videos of everything. That, let's go out. Let's go to the comedy show. Let's do a road trip. Let's go to a different country. And every single moment I wanted to feel like I'm with my best friend. I wanted to feel I want to feel like, I'm around my brother Leotis, that when we would get around, all we do is just laugh and joke all day long. I want to feel like I'm around my twin brother. When me and my twin brother, we can stay on the phone for hours just laughing and playing and all types of stuff. And most people don't get that side of me. Most people that know me, whether it's from work or whatever, they know I'm a very serious person. It's very rare for me to joke around. It's it you know it's very rare for me to it's very rare for me to joke around and everything. And so the only time I'm silly, if I'm silly around somebody, that means I really do like you. That means it's either I like you or I like what I'm doing. Because on YouTube, I'm very silly. I'm very silly. I'm very funny, and that's because I like what I'm doing. And that's the only time that people see that side of me is when I'm doing something that I really really love, or I'm around somebody that I really love. When I'm around somebody that I really love, baby, we playing all day long. We playing all day long. We are playing all day long. But I don't like all the. It's like, come on, let's catch a flight somewhere. I agree. You said we're all silly. It's just most of us have too much burdens to let it show. I agree, but that's why you need to get with the right person. Getting with the right person is going to allow you to, let your hair down and stuff like that. Then you can be the best version of yourself. Because the one thing that I will say about my partner would never have to worry. My partner never have to worry about me cheating. My partner never have to worry about security. I'm the one in the relationship that's going to be the provider. I'm the one that's the protector. I have, shit. I don't think that I've ever, maybe a couple of times, I've never really had somebody to, like take me out on a date, pay for something. It's no, it's always the other way around. You know, majority of the time it's always me taking somebody out on a date. It's always me, paying for this and paying for that. And honestly, it's not a bad thing. It's just, the reason why it always come to that is because I've never been with somebody that made more money than me. And mind you, one of the things I would add is I dated a doctor before, a MD. And even with the doctor that I was dating, they did not make more money than me. I made more money than them. And so even in that relationship, it was still the same dynamic. Now, that was somebody that was able to travel with me. It was a whole lot easier for us to travel because each of us was able to carry our own, so I didn't have to worry about, paying for everything twice. But, you know, uh, that motherfucker didn't make more than me. So, but just know I make really good money. I I make really good money. You got to keep in mind that I have, multiple streams of revenue. I'm the HR director, so I automatically make six figures. I have my own business where, I do divination, I do rituals and everything like that. My business alone makes six figures every year. You got to keep in mind that I have three books that I have published. And so I get money from all three of those books. So I have book sales. So I got money coming in from that. I have two ebooks. So I have money coming in from ebooks. I have YouTube and TikTok that I get paid on. And so I got money coming in from YouTube and TikTok. And so, I have multiple streams of income that is coming in. Money is not a problem for me. Money is, the one thing that, I tell you guys all the time, which is extremely true, is that money always finds me easy. I don't know why that has always why it's always been like that in my life. But money finds me easily. I have always been blessed when it comes to money. Now, not when it comes to love. Love has always been a challenge, but money has never been a challenge for me. It's like every time when it comes to money, the door just automatically opens. The door just automatically appears and opens itself. I never, the one thing that life has taught me over the years is that I will never be in a position that I will ever be worried about money. Money always finds me. Now, love on the other hand, oh yeah, that's a different story. It might, I gotta stop myself every time. I promise. Every time I talk about love, I want to go so negative. I want to go negative. I want to have a pity party. And normally I would go into it. Normally I would start telling y'all some shit where normally I'll be like, love is not in the motherfucking cards for me and all of this other stuff. But I'm glad that I have stopped myself from going into those little pity parties because, the only thing that I will say is that love has not shown up for me the way that money do. Money follows me like a magnet. Money is the one thing that I would never in my life have to worry about. But love, on the other hand, love, let's just say me and love has a very complicated relationship. And honestly, I don't even think that it was any specific relationship that made me view love differently. Me and love just we just always been on the opposite side of things. Love has always been a challenge for me. I date anything that I feel that spirit is putting on my path. You know, the one thing that you got to understand is that I don't I don't pick anybody out. I allow my spiritual team to pick everybody for me. Whoever it is that spirit want to reveal to me, and spirit is saying that this is the best person for you, that this is the best person for your life. I don't care what package they are. I don't care what package they come in. I would automatically accept it. Everything really depends on spirit. Everything really depends on spirit. If spirit tells me that, look, this is who you would be the most happiest with, that is the person I'm going with. Even if physically I would say that this person is not my type or something like that, I will still entertain it and see where it goes because at the end of the day, spirit knows best. And I would say that no, I'm not even picky. You know, I would say that maybe I guess the thing that would be my downfall is that I'm very nonchalant and to spirit tell me that this is the person. You know, I can have people in my life flirting with me, sending me gifts, doing all of this stuff, and I would not pay anybody the time of day and to spirit tell me that it's safe. This is the person you should be with. And so maybe that's my downfall is that I'm always waiting on a sign, but I don't like to jump into anything. I don't like to entertain anything and to spirit tell me that this is the person for you and that is safe. And so, that could be the thing that's my downfall, but I'm not picky at all. And honestly, with everybody is different of the thing that turns you on. You know, the things that turn me on is, like I said, number one, having somebody I can laugh with. If I can be around somebody that every time we're around each other, we're laughing, we're goofy, I don't care who you are. Eventually that is going to turn into sexual energy for me. That is going to, regardless of what you look like, regardless of who you are, that is going to turn into sexual energy that is automatically going to start making me see you in a different light. I love to laugh. I love to have fun. And the second thing is, showing that you're good with kids. You know, because I got to make sure that whoever I get with is going to be compatible with Elijah. And so I love the fact in the dream, not only was this person making me laugh and crack up, but they had Elijah laughing as well. That we were all in the truck just laughing and having this fun, strong family moment. And so, because of that, those are the things that I look for. The things that I look for is I want somebody that's going to be able to make me laugh, somebody that will, bring, that good energy into home space. And then of course, having someone that want kids. I would never be with somebody that can't respect my son. I would never. I would never bring somebody in that can't respect my son. I'd rather stay single. I would rather stay single. But mine is not about who I will accept. I don't get on any I don't get on any apps and stuff like that really looking for people. I let spirit bring it to me. Whatever spirit want to bring to me, and spirit tell me that, hey, this is your person, I'm gonna go with that. you know um and so it really just depends on spirit, because I'm very careful about who I bring into my space. Man, you bring the wrong person in a house full of altars and stuff like that. Man, you asking for a bad time. You're asking for bad energy. Because if the house don't agree with you, I'm definitely not. Oh yeah, making friends is the beginning of a relationship, but I keep it in the friend zone. That's what I'm saying. When I say that, I'm nonchalant, I can be around somebody that I know that likes me, that I know that's flirting with me and stuff like that. And I literally keep it in the friend zone. I keep boundaries up. We can be friends and everything, but it's gonna be friends with boundaries. And so, I keep everything in the boundary zone until spirit reveals that, hey, this is your person. Once spirit reveals that this is my person, it's nothing in the world that will keep me away from you. It's nothing in the world that will keep me away from you. That's when it's time for you to see my energy. You will definitely know when I'm interested, and you will know when I'm not interested. Because when I'm interested, I pursue. I'm a strong pursuer, and I actually love that. I like pursuing and not being pursued. And so when I'm interested in something, I pursue. And so normally, and I know it might sound weird, I really don't like people flirting with me and stuff like that. It's really a turnoff. I like it the other way around. I like to flirt with you. I like to call you out. I like to pursue you. And so that's the way that I like it. When I really like somebody, I'm gonna go after that person full throttle. You're gonna know. I'm gonna start inviting you out the dates. I'm gonna invite you to the comedy club. I'm gonna do everything in my power to try to impress the shit out of you. you know and so I have my little rules that I stand by. I have my 6 month rule that, whoever it is that I date, I like to talk to them for 6 months before I introduce them to Elijah. I don't care what age my kids are. I don't introduce anybody to my kids until after dating for 6 months. And not only dating, being committed for 6 months. And so if we're talking for 3 months and all we're doing is talking, is nothing committed, we're just trying to get to know each other. And then on the fourth month, we decide that we're going to be, committed, that we're going to lock this thing down. That's when the 6 months start. And so I want to make sure that we are committed to each other for at least 6 months before I feel comfortable really bringing you into my life, bringing you around Elijah. Everything before that, it will be outside of the house. We'll be going to the movies. We'll be going to the comedy show. We'll be doing, all of these things. Even if I, wanted to spend some time with you or something, like I would do it. I would plan a trip or some that, we'll go out to a different state or somewhere and get a hotel and spend some time with each other, but not in my home. Not in my home, not Elijah's home, not where he lives. You're not going to come into his space until I know that this is going to be something, and I don't understand. I will never understand how people do that with their kids, that they meet a stranger and just, automatically rush them around kids. Like, for me to do something like that, it's because I knew you prior, that I already like know you, or honestly, that would be the only way. I would have to have previously known you, that I know that, you would be somebody safe. So yep, but I can't I don't know how people I honestly don't know how people do that with just rushing these new people around their kids. It's like that's risky. That's very risky. That is very risky. I still want something to drink. I'm gonna get this root beer. We do everything zero sugar. And so I love these little things. These little packages, sugar free. So there's no sugar in here. And it tastes just like real root beer. I normally put these packages out. But that's it's funny, man. That last dream had me giggling and just waking up in some good energy. Ah, boy. Ooh, the dream. Whew. Boy, spirit know how to get your attention, because that's the shit I love, y'all. I love just you don't understand. I love being around somebody that we can just laugh and stuff all day, that we like, we best friends with each other. There's no need to argue, there's no need to fight. You know, um It's like, that's the type of shit I love. I love just, it's no need. Some of y'all, what we do in relationships is no need for all of that. It's no need. I'm the type of person, you know, it's like, don't sit there and don't sit there accusing me of cheating and stuff like that, bringing me all of this stress. Just go through my phone. I'm that type of person. Elijah know the pin to my phone. Because for in case of an emergency, if something was to happen to me that I'm no longer on this earth or I'm in the hospital or something like that, Elijah knows how to get my phone and to go into my bank apps and everything else in order for him to survive. My twin brother know the same thing. Like the things that I share, I don't share it, just for the sake of sharing it. I share it for in case of an emergency, Elijah need to know what to do immediately. If I was to be in this house and I was to fall out right now on the floor, he needs to know what to do. That if I took his phone because he's on punishment, then all he have to do is go in my pocket and grab my phone, and he knows my pin. He can access everything. He can call my mom. He can call my dad. He can call my brother. And so, it's stuff like that is just very important. And so, I'm not the type, Elijah is 14. I'm not the type that, I'm not the type that, like, oh, you can't have the pin to my phone and stuff like that. No, when you ain't doing shit, bitch, have fun in there. Like, bitch, have fun in there. And then if you think that I'm finna be sneaky to get a second damn phone, you out of your goddamn mind. I barely want this phone. Every 5 minutes, I'm thinking about changing the number so nobody can have my number. Shit, y'all don't understand. Like, y'all don't understand how much I hate, arguments and fights and stuff like that. I don't like that shit. And that's just like, with my family right now, I got 9 sisters, and all the 9 sisters keep arguing and stuff with each other. Like, that stuff affect me. That's what put me in the hospital with high blood pressure, and that's why I got every last one of them blocked now. And they better be glad. They better be glad that I got to use my personal phone for my work number as well. Because if I didn't have to use my personal phone for my work, I would have changed my number by now. And the only person that would have had my number would have been my mom, my dad, and my twin brother. That's it. Everybody else would have been figuring it out once they called me that I got a new number. I don't like all that. I cannot operate where there is a lot of arguments and stuff like that. It just brings my energy down. I'm not connected with that energy. I can't do all of that. Life is not that fucking complicated. And so, that's just the type of person that I am. Like, it's like, no, you think something going on, go through my damn phone. It's like, I don't give no fuck. I'm like, you can look through whoever you want. It's like, call them, text them. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Have fun. You can play with my damn phone like it's a PlayStation 5, and I will give zero fucks. Just leave me the fuck alone. Like, that's all I'm telling you. Just give me peace. I don't want to be arguing with no motherfucker. I'm not even like that with my kids. Like, as soon as I get on to them, about something, like I would yell at them, I would cuss them out. And once I'm done with all of that, As soon as, I just got on to Elijah about not cleaning his goddamn room. And I'm like, if you don't get your nasty ass, nigga ass up in this room and clean this goddamn room. But then at the end of the day, as soon as it's said and done, I'm back in there giving them a kiss saying, hey, I love you. Hey, you mean the world to me. You my everything. So it's like I just can't do that. I can't be with somebody that your style of how you deal with your anger is you hold grudges for days. No, that doesn't resonate with my, because I'm the type of person that we can get into an argument and I can be full blown angry. If I see you like, crying and stuff like that, it gets me out of it just like that. It gets me out of my anger because now I'm in that, and I can admit I'm a big nurturer. Now I'm back in nurturing mode where I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, and people tell me all the time, they like, man, you ain't nothing but a big fucking teddy bear. They like, for you to have all of this going on, you ain't nothing but a big fucking teddy bear. And I'm like, shit, I know. And, I don't see nothing wrong with it. That's just me. I can't do it. I can't just, no, the best way to keep me in anger is matching it. Now, if you wanna go back and forth, I can go back and forth. But, I can't stay angry for long. I definitely I can't hold grudges like that with somebody I love. You know, I can hold grudges when it comes to just the regular Joe, but not the person you love, man. And majority of this stuff is just watching my mom and dad. My mom and dad, they have been together since, well, really their whole life because they grew up around each other. And the funny thing about it is what everybody always talked about is that they could not stand each other. But then they started dating each other in junior high, and they have been together ever since. And so my mom and my dad, they used to always have this rule that they used to always say that you're supposed to solve all of your problems before the sun go down, that you are never supposed to go to sleep being mad at your partner. And so even though we would see them fight and we would see them argue and all of this other stuff, they always came back to by the end of the day. They always came back to, it was like magic. You can see them yelling at each other and everything else, and they always came back to at the end of the day that they always slept in peace. And, that is what I have always looked for in a partner. I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want us to be thinking of different schemes of how to get the other person. I don't want to do all that. I don't want to purposely hurt you because you hurted me and all of this other shit. I'm not gonna be doing all that shit. I'm too old for that now. And even when I was younger, I still didn't have time for that shit. Two people should be able to get along. Even when we have our differences, we should be able to get along. And I'm very clingy in relationships. So whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I'll tell anybody, don't get in a relationship with a clingy person if you never had clingy before, or if you don't know what clingy is. I'm very clingy when it comes to love. I'm the type of person that, I like to do everything with my fucking partner. It's like fucking super glue. My love language is quality time. I love being around my partner. I love being up under my partner. I love, that there is not a single day that I don't want to be around you, even if I feel like you getting on my fucking nerves and I don't even like you for the day. I still want to be around you. You know, I'm that clingy. No, am I codependent and stuff like that? No. Is there something wrong with me? No. I'm just a clingy motherfucker. I like being around the person that I want to be around. You know, where if I'm feeling you for the day and you're not getting on my nerves and stuff like that, I'm cuddling you. I'm, clingy watching TV and stuff like that. If you getting on my fucking nerves and I really just don't want to fuck with you now because you got on my damn nerves, we're still on the same couch. The only difference is you're on that side, I'm on this side, but our feet is still touching each other. No, baby, it's never gonna be a point that I don't want you in the fucking house. No, it's never a point that I want you in the next damn room. So just keep that in mind. It's either we gonna be cuddling, that I'm gonna be holding you, and we gonna be watching TV and shit, or you just gonna be right here on the other end of the couch and our feet is meeting in the middle. So it's never anything crazy. When I don't feel like fucking with you, I still want you around. So it's never like that. I still want you fucking around. Like, when I'm not fucking with you, it's not saying I hate you. It's like you just did some irritating shit. Then I'm like, okay, bitch, get up off of me. Get your ass in the corner right there on that couch. We'll meet in the middle. So yeah, that's me, man. But nah, you know, I don't see some people operate different. Because I'm the type that I when I love, I love. When I love, I love hard. When I love very hard. I would do everything in my power to make sure that the thing work out. I do everything in my power to make sure that it works out. When I love, I love. I'm 100% in it. And I know people used to tell me all the time that they were like, you are not a Gemini, you do not act like a Gemini. And I'm like, no, I think that a lot of people just misunderstand Geminis are not crazy. Geminis just do a mirroring effect. They give you back what you give them. As long as you're not doing anything to a Gemini, they are good vibes. Geminis are very down to earth. They're loving. They're quickly to get in love and stuff. The only thing about a Gemini is once you get them in their head, you better hope they don't get stuck up in there. Because if you give them something that they're going to get stuck in their head, the relationship is done. Once they get on that soundtrack that their mind is keep repeating the same thing and they don't see a way out of it, that relationship is done. Never do anything that you're going to give a Gemini that you're going to get a Gemini stuck in their head. The moment they're stuck, it's done. It's a wrap. You ain't never getting that relationship back. You ain't never getting that love back. Never get a Gemini stuck in their head. Gemini's, boy, once they stuck, it's done. So, man, I need to do a reading because every time I have a dream, I do a reading, but I'm not gonna do the reading on live. I mean, even if I do it, I'm not gonna share it because I don't want y'all in my business. I don't want y'all in my business like that. Like I'll tell you some things. That's the one thing about a Gemini. People think Geminis can't keep secrets and they tell every fucking thing about their life. Uh-uh. Be careful about a Gemini, and you need to really understand a Gemini. Geminis are very strategic. They only tell you what they want to tell you. People think Geminis can't keep secrets. Geminis have the worst secrets known to man, and you will never know those fucking secrets because they talk so much that you think that they're telling you everything, but they're only telling you what they want to share. They're not telling you everything. Never misunderstand that. Just because somebody talk a lot, it doesn't mean that they can't keep a secret, and it doesn't mean that they're not holding something back. They're only telling you what they want to reveal, and they're hiding what it is that they truly want to reveal. Don't get confused. Geminis are very, very intelligent beings. Geminis are so fucking intelligent. Geminis are so fucking intelligent. I love me some Geminis. I don't think I can date a Gemini, but I love a Gemini. I don't think that I would ever date a Gemini though. I think dating a Gemini would be too boring for me. And it's only because I'll be dating a mirror of myself. I don't want to date a mirror of myself. I want to date the opposite of me. That is the thing that attracts me. It's opposite. Opposites attract. I don't want to date, the same, the same level of intelligence, the same strength, the same weakness, the same everything. That's boring as shit. Like I want to date somebody opposite. I want to date somebody opposite than me. That I'm the ruler of the mind of intelligence and the other person is the ruler of their heart. Like that's interesting. Let's talk. Let's talk. I'm the ruler of the mind. I'm very intelligent, and this person is the master of fire. Passion, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. Burn me up. you know I like the opposite. I'm the ruler of the mind. I'm the magician. I'm the lover. I'm the great Gemini, and this person is very down to earth and have grounding energy. You know what? Teach me how to ground myself. Let's talk. I like the opposite. I don't think that I would I don't know. I don't want to speak negative about anything, but I would say that I wouldn't avoid every wind sign. I know that I really don't want a Gemini. I don't want somebody that's exactly like me. I just don't want somebody that's exactly like me. And so I want the opposite. I want somebody that's the opposite, that we can learn from each other. There's some differences that, it forces us both to compromise. Those are the things that I like. I don't, getting somebody that's the same, it gets boring after a while. you like you're like, what is the purpose of this? Let's spice this up. I need me and it was funny before, you know, and I don't know if Spirit is gonna do the same thing. But before my last partner was the only Scorpio that I have dated. And I've always seen Scorpios as crazy as shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, the only brother that I hate, my actual blood brother, the only blood brother that I hate is a Scorpio. And so I never had a good connection with a Scorpio. I see them as very selfish, and not every Scorpio, just the ones that I have seen. I see them as very selfish. I see them as self-centered. I see them as over emotional, and I hate the immature side of a Scorpio, that they can be very spiteful. And that is the thing that I don't like about a Scorpio more than anything, is that I don't like that spiteful energy. I don't like that, they got me, I gotta get them, or I think they finna get me and now I gotta get them. I don't like that. I don't like that war type energy. Love is not war, and so I'm like, nah, but I still gave it a try because I was in love. But Scorpios are kind of Scorpio. I'd rather deal with a Pisces. If we talk about the water signs, like, I'd rather deal with a Pisces. I'd rather deal with a Pisces and teach them how to balance themselves, that you're not dealing with both of those fishes. You know, I'd rather deal with a Cancer that has no vocal cord and you got to teach them how to communicate before dealing with a Scorpio. To each his own. But I'll rather deal with a Pisces and a Cancer before dealing with a Scorpio. Yep. And because, honestly, dating a Scorpio, I really did not change what I attracted in, because before I dated the Scorpio, everything before the Scorpio was always a fucking Aries. you know, and I did not know into I did not know into one of my specific relationships that I was like, you remind me of somebody I know. I'm like, motherfucker, you remind me of somebody I know. And I remember I was uh I was driving, and I forgot where we were going. We were going somewhere. I was driving and the bitch just punched me. And I said, oh, you remind me of my dad. It was the punch that brought back memories that I'm like, oh, you remind me of my dad. I was like, that's who you remind me of. It was that good old punch that I was like, oh, that's who you remind me of. I remember when he used to punch me. Oh man. I was driving somewhere. And so I don't like all that. It was that relationship, that specific relationship, that it made me rethink, my love life. That's when I really dove into it, and I was like, okay, I was with so and so, and I was like, their birthday is, and then I was like, okay, and then I was like, wait a minute, I was with so and so, and their birthday is, okay, I was with so and so, and their birthday is, I was with so and so, and their birthday is, my mom birthday is, my dad birthday is, and I'm like, everybody is an Aries. My mom is an Aries. My dad is an Aries. My first relationship was an Aries. My second relationship was an Aries. My third relationship was an Aries. My fourth relationship was an Aries. It was nothing but fucking Aries. Aries was the only thing that I would attract. Those are all my longest relationships were with Aries. Even when I start looking back on all of my friends with benefits, all the people that I fucked, they all were Aries. And I'm like, when I look at my priest, my Babalao, he's an Aries. And I'm like, why the fuck am I unconsciously keep attracting Aries? Aries was the only fucking sign that I would manifest in. And I did not know for the life of me why I was attracting this one specific sign. And going from an Aries to a Scorpio, I didn't make no damn change. I didn't make a change. Scorpio is the Aries of the water sign. I did not make no fucking change. Trust me. I'm really thinking. I remember when I met Scorpio. I was like, oh, I'm really doing something different. I was like, I'm glad that I finally broke that chain, that this person is not an Aries. I didn't do shit. I didn't do shit. I would have been better off with an Aries. I would have been better off with an Aries than a Scorpio. I would have been better off with an Aries. Because the one thing about it, Aries is like a pit bull, is that they appear to be dangerous, but you can make those bitches submissive. It's just a lot of bark, and so it's like if you can deal with the bark, you good because they bark, but they don't bite. So that's the one thing that you find out about an Aries. Like they pretend to be crazy and they pretend like they gonna do something, but an Aries not gonna do a damn thing. An Aries is not about to do a goddamn thing. All they are is bark. And if you actually listen to their barking and you understand their barking and you actually meet them halfway, they calm down with ease. And that's when you can have a really good relationship with them. All you have to do is listen to the barking and meet them halfway and let them know that, hey, I hear you out. Aries are not that dangerous sign like people paint them out to be. They are not that dangerous sign. The one thing that I love about an Aries is that when they are done with their barking, they're back to loving you. They're back to caring for you. And the reason why they do all that goddamn barking is because they love you so goddamn much. And so I can fuck with an Aries. They got some anger issues, but I can deal with a fucking Aries. Now, the one thing about an Aries is that eventually the flame is gonna go out. They go from 0 to 1,000 just like that. But just like they quickly go from 0 to 1,000, they quickly go back down to 0 because they have no more fucking energy to keep yelling and stuff like that. And so eventually those motherfuckers go back down. The fire will eventually lose its flame. Not so with a Scorpio. With a Scorpio, those bitches are evil. Those bitches are evil. With an Aries, they eventually flame themselves out and you can start back loving them. With Scorpios, they are evil as shit. If any sign would be the devil, it's the Scorpio. Scorpio hold grudges. Waters keep up with memory. They don't let shit go. And then they're a walking contradiction. They're a walking fucking contradiction. They want you to give your 100% heart, but they don't give shit. I can't, like my experience, it's only one Scorpio that I've ever loved like that, and that is Noah. That is the kid that, I took care of. That is the only Scorpio I fuck with like that. Every other Scorpio, I always look at them sideways. I don't fuck with Scorpios. I'm sorry. Me and Scorpios have never had a good relationship. I don't even know how the fuck I ended up with, I don't even know how the fuck I end up marrying a Scorpio. I guess you always attract the ones you hate. I guess you always attract the ones you hate because I have nothing good to say about a Scorpio. I just don't. I do not fuck with Scorpios. They are crazy as shit to me. And so, it's all fun and games, talking about the zodiac sign. Nobody take it personal because at the end of the day, there is other things that go into effect because you got to look at everything else into your chart. And so, just talking about the zodiac sign it's some funny, but at the end of the day, let's get you guys engaged. Let's get everybody talking. What sign do you fuck with the most and what sign do you hate? We all got it. You already know what it is. What sign is it that you fuck with the most And which one of these motherfucking signs you hate more than anybody? You know, I think that when it comes to the sign that I fuck with the most, I want to say, damn, what sign would I fuck with the most? Aquarius. Because Aquarius always walk around like they're fucking high. They Aquarius is like the weed man that smoke his own product. You know, every time when you meet an Aquarius, they are always just cool, calm, and collective. They don't want to be in no shit. They don't want to argue with you. They don't want to fight. They are just like, look, I just got done smoking ton of weed. You know, we finna relax, baby. I love me an Aquarius. I can fuck with an Aquarius. Baby, that is the one that I want to marry. That's the person that I want to date. You know, I love me some Aquarius. I have never met an Aquarius that I did not get along with. Aquarius is that sign where they are literally the middleman for everybody. They are cool as fuck. They're laid back. You know, they don't be in a lot of shit. You know, and it's mainly because it's such a mystery with the Aquarius because everybody, even in the name, you have that aqua in the name, and then they are the water barriers, but those bitches have nothing to do with water. They are an air sign. They are in my family. They are every so many people think that Aquarius is a water sign. Aquarius is not a fucking water sign. They are air. But I think that it's because of all of the association with water, and then because they are an air sign, I think that I think that it naturally make them a cuss, that they are a mixture of air and water. And that is the thing that I love about them the most, is that even though they are in our family, they really don't have a lot of strong wind characteristics like Gemini and Libra. And so I love me. I can fuck with an Aquarius. I can fuck with an Aquarius. I will marry a fucking Aquarius. I will date a fucking Aquarius. I will fuck a fucking Aquarius. I fucks with Aquarius. I will be friends with a fucking Aquarius. I love Aquarius. Aquarius is just the best sign to me. Those are the ones that I will fuck with. And then, you know, my most hated is, I mean, Scorpio. But at the end of the day, you got to say, even though Scorpio is my most hated, and I felt this way before I got married, because when I think of Scorpio, I always think of my older brother, and I hated my older brother. Even to this day, I still hate him. He can watch this video and know that I still hate him. You know, but even though I hate him, I still love him because, you know, every single time he went to jail and everything else, I was the only one putting money on his books because nobody else fucked with him. And my rule for him, I remember I was telling him, as long as he don't call me, I would put money on his books every single month. But the moment he try to reach out and talk to me for anything, even if it's telling me good morning, that I will never send him money again, and I held I held to that. I just hate him. You know, I mean, I have a natural hate for Scorpio. How did I end up marrying a Scorpio? I don't know. And I knew the entire time that the person was a Scorpio. How I end up marrying a Scorpio, I do not know. But the same way that I felt, the same way that I feel about my brother is how I feel about most Scorpios, especially November Scorpios. I'm sorry, but I can't fuck with a November Scorpio. Those bitches. But hey, it's just a sign. I mean, there's other stuff mixed with it. There's other stuff mixed with it. Oh no, you hate Aquarius, and I get along with Scorpios. No, I guess to each his own. I mean, yeah, because they're still a wind sign. You said once you betray a Aquarius, they're done because they're still a wind sign. Dang, I can't believe she said, look, baby, I'm the opposite. She said I can't stand a fucking Aquarius, but I love me a Scorpio. Damn, I heard that. I mean, damn. I mean, we all different. I'm a Pisces and they don't blend. You a Pisces, but you don't blend with what? You don't blend with what? My grandpa was I'm a November Scorpio and my kids are Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Oh God. Oh God. Scorpios just I and then they're so emotional. But I think the my biggest thing about a Scorpio, and it's as long as you don't have those characteristics, I just hate the fact that Scorpios can be very vindictive, and that's the part that I don't like. I don't like that vindictive energy, because sometimes you can put that vindictive energy on somebody that's completely innocent, but it's just your crazy emotions making you think something different. Oh yeah, I love me an Aquarius. I'm an Aries. You know what? Aries is not my top sign, but Aries is just what I'm always. I don't know. Just like I don't know how I married a Scorpio. I don't know how. Every serious relationship that I've ever had, all of my longest relationships have been with an Aries. I don't know how it happens. And I'm thinking it's probably because my mom and my dad is an Aries. I grew up with heavy Aries influence. And growing up with parents, you tend to learn how to deal with it. You learn how to tend to deal with that personality and stuff like that. And so Aries don't scare me. I can be around an Aries all day and we get along just like that because I have learned how to master it, being around my mom and my dad. And so, and I love my mom, and I love my dad as well. Me and my dad, it took some time, but I love my parents, and so I can deal with a Scorpio all day. You said last was a Gemini and it sucked. What you do to that Gemini? Bring that back up. What you do to that Gemini? Yeah, Aries, I can agree with you. Aries people, love to argue and are always right. I can agree. Every Aries I've been with was the same personality, but you learn how to deal with it. The moment you let them know, like, bitch, I'm not gonna be up arguing with you all night. The moment that you really relay that and they know it and they believe it, you have no problems at all. My dad a Leo and I'm a Leo. My son's a Leo. I love Leos because Leos are the great lion. And they give this scary tactic, but they are so quick to be submissive. They like to be bossy. No, see, this is the weird thing about a Leo. A Leo will not respect you if you have a weak personality. If they can, if they can, if they can rule over you, if they can, have power struggles and stuff with you, they will never respect you. They will never love you. But if you are somebody that they can't get, that they can't pull that shit with, they end up being submissive to you and they end up loving you. Leos are so weird as fuck, but I fuck with them. I fuck with a Leo. I fuck with a Leo. Leos try to be so motherfucking bossy and everything else, but at the end of the day, they quick to be submissive as soon as they get that big dick energy. That's all they need is a big dick shoved up in them. That's all a Leo need. Once a Leo get that, they submissive and loyal. They like, sorry, daddy. I never meant to do that. Leos are man. I love a Leo. I fuck with a Leo. That's all you got to do. Just pull your dick out and smack them with it. They'll shut up. they'll shut up. Trust me. They will shut the fuck up. You know what? The one thing Everybody got their own thing that the one thing that I used to always hate about Sagittarius growing up is they nosy as fuck. And I'm the opposite. I'm a very private person. Sagittarius is nosy. And so I used to always say that I'm like, okay, I hate Scorpios because they're so fucking emotional and they're very spiteful. But Sagittarius is nosies as fuck. They are so goddamn nosy. You like, why the fuck are you so damn nosy? Why do you gotta know every fucking thing? Even things that's not pertaining to you. It's like, Sag, like, come on. Let people live in their secrets. Stop trying to be Detective Gadget, trying to figure out every fucking thing. Sagittarius are Scooby-Doo bitches. They always want to figure some shit out. They always want to figure some shit out. And so it's like, let them be. Let people be. Let these niggas be. But yeah, Sagittarius are nosy as fuck. Capricorns are conceited as fuck. The whole world evolve around them. A Capricorn don't even know that other people exist. Taurus is extremely stubborn as fuck. Virgos can't make up their goddamn mind. Shall we go on? Pisces are crazy, but I can deal with a crazy Pisces. It's something about a Pisces that I love. But Pisces are, crazy as shit. But I can, it's funny how it might be something wrong with me because I deal with all the crazy signs. I can deal with a Pisces, which is crazy as shit. I can deal with an Aries, which is crazy as shit. Maybe I just like the spicy type. Cause they crazy as shit. But Pisces is the most spiritual sign as well. Pisces is the most spiritual out of us all. And I do love a Virgo because my favorite sister is a Virgo. So I fuck with Virgos, and me and her, we're always chatting. She funny as fuck. What about Aquarius? Aquarius is cool in my book. I love me an Aquarius. So yeah, my sorry y'all, I'm doing a reading for myself. I had you can deal Scorpio. I can't deal with a Scorpio. If you're talking about me, I can't deal with no Scorpio. Scorpios are too fucking crazy. My partner is a Pisces, and he's crazy as shit. Oh, male Pisces are crazy as shit. Yup. And you like, damn, why you so emotional like a woman? Yup. You like, why you so emotional like a woman? Like your booty bleeding or something? You need a pad? Cause it's like, damn, Pisces men's boy, they are like, they women. Pisces men are women. It's like, damn. It's like, damn, nigga, let me put a pad on your booty hole. You probably bleeding once a month. Pisces men's boy, they can be crazy because you notice, even when Pisces men's get crazy, they do the same crazy shit that an emotional woman would do. Just like an emotional woman would scratch up your car and slash your tires and burn down an apartment building. A Pisces man is willing to do the same thing. He finna show you what a woman energy really is. A Pisces man is gonna go there. A Pisces man is gonna go there, and he is gonna be the biggest woman you have ever seen when he get mad. Pisces men don't play. No, Aries men and Pisces men are different. They really are different. They're two different type of crazy. You know, Aries man is gonna try to end your life and it's gonna try to kill you. A Pisces man is more like a woman and it's all about trying to hurt everything in your surroundings. But their goal is not to kill you. No, a Aries, you'll probably end up on the news. We'll probably be mourning you on TikTok or on YouTube, because they're two different types of crazy. You know, Aries is crazy driven by passion. You know, Pisces men are driven by emotion. If they killed you, it was by accident. They were like, look, I just put a little bleach in there because I wanted you to get sick. I didn't know you were going to die. That's Pisces. They're very emotional. They'll do the same thing that a bitch will do. When I think of a Pisces, I think of a bitch. When I think of an Aries, I think of a nigga. It's some nigga shit. Aries is always going to do some nigga shit. And so if you ain't getting a gun, pull up, if you ain't getting a gun to your head, then that's not an Aries. a Aries is going, if they not popping up at your motherfucking job and cussing you out in front of everybody and embarrassing you in front of everybody, then that's not no Aries. That's some shit an Aries will do. Aries do things in the heat of the moment because they don't have the ability to calm down and think. And Aries get so mad and so hot that if you stay arguing with them long enough, they're going to forget why they're arguing. That's how hot they get. You doing all of this nigga shit, and then you forgot why we're arguing. You forgot why you broke the crock pot. You forgot why you threw that mug upside my fucking head. That's an Aries. Aries is always going to do some nigga shit. Just be ready to get embarrassed with an Aries because they're going to argue with your ass anywhere. In the grocery store, outside in front of the neighbors, you could be outside talking to your mom and dad, and the Aries is going to pull up and argue with every last one of you motherfuckers and embarrass you. Stay in the hood with an Aries. Don't go to the suburbs. Everybody is going to be looking at you. Everybody is going to be looking at you like, this is some nigga shit. We need to call Tyler Perry and tell him to put these motherfuckers on Why Did I Get Married? Like, that's an Aries. Aries is always going to do some nigga motherfucking shit. But a Pisces are bitch ass niggas. Nah, Pisces are bitch ass niggas. They're completely two different things. A bitch ass nigga is gonna do some bitch ass shit. A bitch ass nigga is gonna you pick up your purse and they cut all the handles off on your purse. That's a bitch ass nigga. That's a Pisces. That's a Pisces. They'll do some shit like that. A Pisces will do some bitch ass shit. They will take the legs off of your bed. They'll take the legs off the couches and everything and just leave the couches and stuff there that you sitting down low to the ground. That's some bitch ass nigga shit. That's a Pisces. And you like, I really want to cuss this motherfucker out. Like, that's Pisces is gonna do some bitch ass nigga shit that's gonna piss you the fuck off. Aries is gonna do something to give you immediate harm. Pisces is gonna do some shit that you'll be pondering about that for the rest of your life. Like, why the fuck did he put glue in my weave? Like, why did he do that? You'll be pondering that for the rest of your life. Like, why the fuck did he do it? Like, why didn't he just, pull it out or something like that? Like, why the fuck did you put glue on there? Pisces is gonna do some bitch ass shit, I'm telling you. Those the niggas that will literally take your keys and throw them out the window, and you like, no bitch, how is either one of us getting home? We can't find these motherfucking keys in the bushes. Pisces is gonna do some bitch ass shit. If it's a bitch ass nigga around, there's a Pisces somewhere near. There's a Pisces somewhere near. There is Pisces somewhere in that nigga chart. If there's some bitch ass shit being done, there is definitely some Pisces energy somewhere in that motherfucking chart. I can promise you that. I can promise you that. You know, the one thing about a Pisces is gonna stay being a bitch ass nigga. They said, baby, I'm finna do some shit that you'll be thinking your girlfriend did some shit like this. They'll do some bitch ass shit. You said so you smearing boo boo on the toilet seat now because you mad? They'll do some bitch ass shit like that. And they like, oh yeah, sit down and have a shit now. You made me feel shitty. Now you gonna sit in shit. And it's like, yep, they would do some bitch ass shit like that. I can see if nothing will surprise me with a Pisces. If it's some bitch ass nigga shit, it's not gonna surprise me. That is right up Pisces. That is right up Pisces alley. They will do some bitch ass nigga shit. I can promise you that. So when you say they alike, oh no, they not. One is a hood nigga, the other one is a bitch ass nigga. They're completely different. How they operate is completely different. I promise you that. These nigga operate completely different. Did we talk about every sign? Did I miss somebody? Because we got the fire signs. We know Aries got anger management issues. We know Scorpios are nosy as fuck. We know Scorpio. No, Scorpio's not in that. Leo. We know Leo pretend to be very strong, and then they end up being submissive. We know Pisces is crazy as shit. We know Scorpios, they hold grudges. They're very spiteful. And then Cancers are it's the only sign in the zodiac sign with no vocal cord. So Cancers have a lot of communication issues. We have with the earth sign, we have Capricorn that think the world just evolve around them. We have Taurus that is stubborn as fuck, is my way or the highway. We have, thank God for Virgo, because that is the only thing that makes the earth signs look good. If it wasn't for Virgo, the earth signs would be a complete mess and a mistake that God made. and then we and then we have and then we have and then we have, let me see, Geminis. We have the wind sign. Geminis is God best creation. I mean, it's like when God made the Gemini, God was just like perfection at its highest. And then Aquarius, I fuck with a motherfucking Aquarius. I love me the drug dealer Aquarius, and not really a drug dealer. They get high off their own supply. Aquarius always walk around like they fucking high. They're that one friend that always appear to be high. That's how mellow their personality is. They're very mellow. I fuck with an Aquarius. I like an Aquarius nigga. Aquarius I can fuck with. And then Libra, I can't fuck with no Libra. Libras don't know how to make a decision. With a Libra, you will be single for the rest of your life. They're like scared little kids. Should I date him? Should I not date him? Is he gonna hurt me? Is he not gonna hurt me? What's in the corner? What's over there? Is it right? Is it bad? Is it good? Is it this? And it's like, bitch, I'm gone. Bitch, I'm gone. I'm not even here no more. I'm not even here. And then the moment you move on and find somebody, the Libra will be calling you back. Oh, so I guess that's what you wanted the whole time. No, bitch, you couldn't make a goddamn decision. Woo. Libras will have you waiting your whole entire life. Libras will have you waiting your whole entire life. My God. It's like, damn. Make a goddamn decision. Stick with it, motherfucker. Can we please? Whew. I'll tell you the truth. My bad. I was just doing a reading. Just doing a reading for me for once I have a dream, I always come down here and do a reading. And it's not a reading to see what's coming in and stuff like that. It's just a reading to, double confirm the dream because, I'm good at interpreting dreams. I know how to interpret dreams, but I still like that confirmation to, make sure that the tarot cards are saying the same thing and they did, so I did a good job interpreting the dream. Scorpios is crazy as shit to me. I don't care if it's woman or male. Scorpios, and the only thing with Scorpios is just Scorpios, they hold grudges. They're very spiteful. They're very, very spiteful. And the one thing about an emotional sign is that, when you are dealing with emotions, your answers are not subjective. It's not based in logic. And so sometimes you can feel something, and just because you feel something, it doesn't mean that it's right. And if you went full Scorpio on somebody because of something you felt, that is some crazy energy. The scorpion stings, it can paralyze. And and with Scorpios, they are not always the most logical person that, when a Scorpio burns somebody's house down, I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, what did they do to the Scorpio? I'm more like, what did the Scorpio do to the other person and then pretending to be the victim? That's what goes through my mind with a Scorpio. If I see, a Scorpio shooting somebody, the first thing that I'm saying is, okay, what did the other person catch Scorpio doing and now they're in their feelings acting like they're the victim? What the fuck did they do? That's what goes through my mind when I think of a Scorpio. I'm not the one. I'm not the one to be on the Scorpio side. I'm the opposite. I want to be the lawyer taking them to jail. Scorpios just do some crazy. Scorpios do some crazy shit, man. They just do some crazy shit. I mean, and not all Scorpios the same because in every sign you have your low and you have your high. You have your immature and you have your high. Now, keep in mind when a Scorpio is at its highest stage, a Scorpio is a phoenix. Now, when a Scorpio is there, I can fuck with a Scorpio. I can I can fuck with a Scorpio. I can only fuck with a Scorpio when they are at the level of a Phoenix and not the level of the Scorpion. The Scorpion, I'll end up smushing that thing and saying, "Bitch, get the fuck out my way." But the Phoenix, I can fuck with the Phoenix. I can fuck with the Phoenix. And you learn those things that and I don't know every sign. I only know the signs that I research. Every zodiac sign has a path. and where it's like they morph into something else. Where the path of the Gemini is that the Gemini is literally the representation of pretty much like God, where it was saying that, God wanted to experience a reflection of itself, that, he wanted to experience what it is that everybody see him as and things like that. And so he split himself into two, so that on one side he is still God, but on the other side he is a representation of himself in the physical form in order to understand his own greatness. That's the Gemini. And the Gemini, that is why the Gemini path is to get back to its source. It's getting back to itself. It's not to another person. Geminis is going back to themselves. And so the mature version of a Gemini is higher consciousness. It's that you're going back into the Godhead. And so with every zodiac sign, there is a path that they must take. And so you have to understand the zodiac sign in order to understand what each path that, every last one of them must take. But, of course, I researched the Geminis because, I'm a Gemini. And so every last one of the paths of a Gemini is very interesting because it always start off the same, that, Geminis have split themselves into two in order to come back to themselves. And the moment that Geminis find themselves is when they become the complete version of who they are. And now some people, I've heard it different ways where it's like, not only did the Gemini split itself into two, but the Gemini split itself into two and put that energy in a different person. And that is why in the zodiac sign, the Gemini is represented as the lover. And on that path, the Gemini is finding their lover. It's not about finding themselves at that point, because it's all about finding the lover. Because as long as they find their lover, they found themselves, because their essence is already inside of the lover. And so this is where you get into like the twin flame era, where that comes from the Gemini line. And so, and that is why with a twin flame, whenever it's activated, it's both parties are on the same level, that they reach the same level, and it activate the twin flame, where now all of a sudden both of you are drawn into each other's life. And so regardless of where that level is, if both of you are down here, you activated it. If both of you are up here, you activated it. But if one is up here and the other one is down here, you don't activate the twin flame. You gotta somehow, so this person gotta rise, or this person got to lower down in order for the twin flames to come together like that. So, with everyone, with everyone is different. There's so many different journeys, and stuff with the zodiac sign. And so, I love the zodiac. I love the zodiac sign is very, very, very interesting to me. I mean, at the end of the day, Scorpio is still a water sign. And because Scorpio is a water sign, you have the same energy as a Pisces, that water signs can be very spiritual. And, that is one of the things that help the Scorpio go into the Phoenix. I mean, Scorpios are powerful. Scorpios are very powerful, because, they have that ability to go into the Phoenix energy. It's all about rebirth, but they have to be very mature in order to go there, so when they are there, I'm like, what's up, nigga? I like me a Scorpio when they in that Phoenix energy, but as a Scorpion, nah. I like Pisces too. Pisces is the most interesting to me. Pisces is all about balance. You know, and theirs are, they are internal balance. To me, Pisces represent yin and yang more than anybody. It's flowing in harmony of the water. That's what Pisces is all about. It's flowing in that harmony. You know, and so I fuck with some Pisces, but I just want to know why I want to know why Aquarius is always high. Because I have always fucked with an Aquarius because they always get a sense like they just so fucking high. They always high off of weed. That's what their personality always come like. Where those motherfuckers be cool, calm, and collective. I'm like, what the fuck? Is it some in that water they carrying? Like, is that water really wine or something? Shit. Is that water really wine? Somebody said earlier that Jesus is a that Jesus was a that Jesus is a Capricorn. No, the fuck he not. That's just the season we celebrate. Jesus technically would have been Jesus technically would have been Jesus technically would have been a Pisces because that is the beginning of spring. The beginning of spring is the beginning of spring is Pisces season. Because Pisces would be in March, and that's when spring is coming about. We're getting so Jesus would have technically been a Pisces, not a Capricorn. Capricorn, I'm like, nah, Jesus ain't gonna be no Capricorn. What the fuck? He would have been, which one was the tax collector that was stealing the money? He would have been like one of those niggas. Capricorns are very materialistic. Jesus would have been in the corner stealing money. Jesus would have been stealing everybody's money if he was a damn Capricorn. That's how you know he wasn't no damn Capricorn. That motherfucker would have been stealing everybody's motherfucking money. He said the scriptures would have been changed so much. He said, fuck giving to Caesar. Don't give to Caesar what belonged to Caesar. Give it to me. Put it in my bag now, motherfucker. If he was a Capricorn, boy, the whole Bible would have changed. You said you thought he was an Aries. I mean, if he was an Aries, he probably would have told Peter, go ahead and take that motherfucking ear off, and I'm finna body slam his motherfucking ass. So I don't think he was an Aries. Because if he was an Aries, they would have been fighting, and Judas would have been dead. Jesus would have grabbed that sword from Peter and rammed it right up in his heart. I don't think he was an Aries. If he was an Aries, it would have went down. I mean, Jesus would have been on that crucifix for something else. He would have been on that crucifix for murder. He would have literally murdered almost every last one of those people. He would have been on that crucifix for something else. They would have hung his motherfucking ass for all the bodies he murdered. So I don't think he was an Aries. I don't think he was an Aries. Because he would have told Peter, cut that motherfucking ear off, and when you get done with the ear, cut his fucking neck. I'm telling you, the Bible would have been changed if he was an Aries too. Shit. Shit, boy. Pisces makes sense. Pisces just make more sense. But y'all, it's 1 in the morning. I'm gonna get some sleep. It's 1:25. Um, I was just, I'm up because I was, that's the downside about sleeping during the day. When you sleep during the day,
you're not sleepy at night. But I know that if I keep pressing through and if I stay up, I'm not gonna want to get up in the morning. And so it's like I gotta be up in the morning. I got an appeal meeting, first thing in the morning that I terminated somebody and they want to appeal the decision. And so, I told them they can bring me all the supporting details and everything that they want, and I would, view it, and I would let them know if I would, bring them back or if I want to keep them terminated. And so, I really need to be alert for that meeting. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some sleep. Um, so y'all stay blessed. Just keep in mind, Jesus wasn't no Capricorn. He would have been stealing all the money. He would have been, boy, they so materialistic. He would have been like, get that money so I can buy me some Gucci. Jesus would have had the first Gucci stone. It would have been a stone with just some tree trunks or something on it. He would have just been wearing it around. Look at my Gucci stone. Look at my Gucci stone. And he definitely wasn't no Aries because boy, everybody on that. Everybody there would have been dead. No, he would have called on Elijah and Moses just to bring them back from the dead so that they can jump in the fight too. And he like, oh, y'all motherfuckers got earthly niggas? Let me show you what I got. Elijah, rain down. Moses, beam down. Let's get these motherfucking niggas. Let's go. He wasn't no Aries. Like that whole story would have been completely motherfucking different if he was a goddamn Aries. Boy, it would have been so much bloodshed. You would have seen Moses doing karate in the spirit. All right, y'all. I'm going. I gotta go. When I get sleepy and stuff, anyways, I get silly as fuck. I can come up with so much shit. You'll be thinking I'm an Aquarius. You'll be thinking I'm high. All right, y'all. Love you. You stayed strong, but it's time for me to go to sleep. What if he was a Scorpio? If he was a Scorpio, he would have held grudges. He would have been spiteful and everything, just like a motherfucking Scorpio. He probably would have got into it with Joseph because he was like, oh, so you were gonna leave Mary. You were gonna leave Mary because God fucked her and had me, huh? So you were gonna abandon me and not be my earthly father, huh? They wouldn't have had a good relationship if he was a Scorpio. They wouldn't have had a good relationship if he was a Scorpio. They wouldn't have been fucking with each other. Jesus would have automatically disowned Joseph because he said, I heard about the fact that you didn't fuck with me because Holy Spirit fucked Mary instead of you. Holy Spirit hit it first, and now you jealous. You couldn't share that pussy? You don't see me as your son? So you were just going to abandon me in the middle of the night and leave me in the goddamn burn all by myself? Yeah, if he was a Scorpio, he wouldn't have had a good relationship with his dad. He would have ran away from home. He would have ran away from home if he was a Scorpio. He said, nobody loved me. Nobody loved me. No, nobody understand me. Holy Spirit done fucked my mama and brought me here. And nobody understand me. Y'all just don't understand. Nobody understand me. So yeah, he couldn't have been a Scorpio. That wouldn't have made sense. That story would have been everywhere. It would have been so juicy. It was like, oh damn. It's like, damn, this is interesting. And hey, it probably would have been a better Bible to read. More people would have actually read it if he probably was a Scorpio. So, I don't think he was a Scorpio. I'm gonna keep him at a Pisces. So that's the interesting thing. So, but anyways, y'all, I'm out. No, if he was a Gemini, he probably would have been the best thing ever. You know what I'm saying? If he was a Gemini, they probably would have been like, nah, but I'm telling you now, if he was a Gemini, he probably would have grown up in the palace. He was like, nah, sugar, nah, nigga, that outside shit is for somebody else. I'm not going outside. You think I'm finna go where the horses and stuff is being born? Nah, motherfucker. Like, if he was a Gemini, he literally would have came as a king of the way that people would have described him. People, he would have had a palace. He would have had pillows and stuff that would be washed every single day. He said, baby, nah, that's for the birds. Like, if you think I'm gonna go out there and be out there with those damn animals where it smelled like shit, you got me fucked up. No, that nigga would have been in the palace. Now I can promise you that. That motherfucker would have been in the palace. But hey, I wouldn't have been mad at him. I think that would have been a good story. So I think that would have been a good fucking story. But anyways, y'all, I'm out. I'm about to sleep. Cause I gotta go to work in the morning, gotta make money. I gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. All right, night, y'all. You stay strong. Now it's time to go.